It's not evidence for evolution. Don't give me this poor design of the human eyeball. And kids, if you go to college, you're going to hit a professor who'll tell you that. Okay, they're either confused about their anatomy or they're lying to you. It's not poor design. Okay, this textbook talks about how life evolved from non-living material. We could spend an hour on this one about how they did not use oxygen intentionally. We covered that on video 4 about the origin of life experience. We're not going to talk about that tonight. This textbook says gills are an adaptation to living in water. Well, how did they live before they adapted the gills? Well, you see, boys and girls, for millions of years, none of them lived. They all died until they evolved the gills. Why don't they say it's a design feature? They don't want to say it's a design feature because then some kid's going to say, who's the designer? They always use this word adapted. I heard it about 6 times tonight. These are adapted, these are adapted. No, they're designed for what they do, okay? This textbook says humans and orangutans are 96% similar in their DNA. So what? They say, well, that proves a common ancestor 15 million years ago. No, it doesn't. Actually, this textbook says, Darwin speculated all forms of life are related. This speculation has been verified. That is baloney. Verified by DNA. The DNA is unbelievably complicated. One person's DNA, all the DNA out of your body would fill about 2 tablespoons. But if you tied them end to end and stretched them out, it'd reach from Earth to the moon and back 5 million round trips. Unbelievably complex. Didn't happen by chance. Okay. But now they're telling the kids, like Richard Goldschmidt said, clear back in 1940, the first bird hatched from a reptile egg. He was frustrated because they couldn't find any evidence for evolution. You couldn't find any fossils that are missing links. He said, so it must have happened quickly because we don't find the evidence. This is silly, okay? In the mind of the evolutionist, there's only 2 choices. They'll say evolution happened slowly like Darwin said, or evolution happened quickly like Gould said. They don't seem to be capable of thinking outside the box. It didn't happen at all. They don't want to think about that, okay? This guy says evolution is a fact. Evidence for evolution from the fossils. He said the fossil record provides some of the strongest evidence that species evolved over time. That is silly. There is no fossil record. There's a bunch of fossils in the dirt, but it's not a fossil record. Don't let them pull that one over on you. All you find are bones in the dirt. You don't look back in the fossil record. Fossils only exist in the present. You put your interpretation on them, but they exist in the present. Everything else is your interpretation on them. See, the creationists and the evolutionists are both seeing the same evidence, coming to different conclusions. I look at fossils and see evidence of rapid burial and a flood. The evolutionists look at fossils and look for evidence for how they change from one thing to another. We don't see anything changing today like that. Why would you think it was different long ago and far away? They say birds are descendants of dinosaurs. Well, you're welcome to believe that, but there are a few differences between a dinosaur and a bird, okay? You don't just put a few feathers on them and say, come on, give it a try, man. It won't hurt too bad. It's just not quite that simple, okay? Textbook will say Archaeopteryx is evidence for evolution. Archaeopteryx is a bird, okay? Alan Fiducia, University of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, one of the world's experts on, he believes in evolution. But he says, paleontologists have tried to turn Archaeopteryx to an earthbound feathered dinosaur, but it's not. It's a bird, a perching bird. And no amount of paleo babble is going to change that. Students believe evolution because that's they've been taught. I think all that's been presented are lies. I think the lies ought to be taken out of the books, and then if you have evidence for your theory, show it to the kids. You tell them they're an animal, what's it do? Well, look around, okay? They act like animals. Now, teen suicide rate's gone crazy in this country. Violent crimes have gone up 1,000% since evolution became the dominant theory in the early 60s. Unmarried couples living together in adultery has increased 725%. Premarital sex has gone up in every category. Satan's a liar, folks. He wants to deceive you. And I think if somebody believes that we came from an ape-like ancestor or even came from an amoeba up to a human, they're welcome to believe that. But that's not science. It's not common sense. And I think they need to understand that teaching is going to destroy the faith of some kids in their class, which maybe they don't understand, maybe they do understand. But Jesus said, whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck and he were drowned in the depth of the sea. So before I taught evolution to anybody, I'd take a long, hard look at Jesus' warning. I mean, if you don't believe he exists or don't believe he's God, that's fine. But listen carefully to his warning. You're in serious trouble. What should we do? Well, 75% of kids from Christian homes that go to public schools reject the faith after 1 year of college. After they're subjected to a whole semester or a whole year or 4 whole years of computer animations of how it might have happened, pretty soon they start to get confused and start to believe it. That's what happens to many of them. Scott wrote me a letter. He said, Dr. Hovind, until I went to college, my faith in God was sound. But my college history class helped destroy that faith. Folks, evolution's not just in science class. It's in history, English, math, every class, okay? Scott said, I started to doubt the Bible and God's Word, even started to doubt Jesus was truly God's Son and that He died and rose for my sins. My best friend showed me your tapes, and I was in awe of what I saw. Everything I thought I knew about life was changed. Yeah, he rescued one. Charles Darwin studied to be a preacher, lost his faith. Farrell Till, former Church of Christ missionary, now the editor of an atheist magazine. I debated him, debate number 7 on the table. Michael Shermer, editor of Skeptics magazine, here in California. I debated him. I don't know when that was. Claimed he was a Christian as a kid. Tom Hanks, stars in movies with little or no morals, claimed he was a Christian and loved the Lord when he was 16. Gary Parker, now he's back to a creationist. Michael Ruse, the main spokesman at the Arkansas trial, was raised in a Christian home, spoke out against creation. John Templeton, who used to work with Billy Graham, accepted evolution and wrote a book, Farewell to God. Frank Zindler studied to be a Lutheran priest. He's the president of the Ohio Atheist Association. I debated him. And we're going to get Matt Rainbow off the list here by the end of the night because getting him back to be a creationist. All right.